Good afternoon, I'm Bakhtiar Sanov and you're watching A News. And now the major stories making headlines today. U.S. President Donald Trump marks his first 100 days in office at Michigan rally. 3 people were shot dead in central Uppsala, Sweden. The police arrested a teenager suspected in shooting. North Korea conducts the first test firing of its new warship's weapons system. U.S. President Donald Trump marked the 100th day of his second term with a rally in Warren, Michigan on Tuesday. Addressing a crowd of supporters, he highlighted his administration's achievements in economic policy, immigration enforcement, and government reform. Trump touted the implementation of significant tax cuts, claiming they would raise average household incomes and eliminate taxes for many earning. He also emphasized his administration's efforts to reduce inflation, which he declared had already ended, and to increase wages. The rally held at Macomb Community College was Trump's largest political event since returning to the White House. Our correspondent in the United States, Ubi Schbander, reports more about key highlights of Trump's 100-day Michigan rally.
President Trump held a massive rally in Macomb County, Michigan, to mark his 100 days since he won his re-election, where he touted his administration's record on the economy, border control, and tackling waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal bureaucracy. Trump promised the crowd that his administration will also soon pass what he called the largest tax cuts in American history. In many ways, it was a typical Trump rally. There was dancing, singing, cheering, and Trump brought onto stage a number of members of his administration, including Mehmet Oz, the Trump administration's administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And in a striking moment at the rally, Trump showed a minutes-long video of illegal immigrants being deported to high-security prisons in El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act. The crowd, in response, chanted, USA. We are delivering mass deportation and it's happening very fast, the president said. And after 100 days in office, it seems each day has come with a new executive order issued by the president on a major policy item. Winning the 2024 election in decisive fashion, President Trump has made it clear that he is going to maximize the use of his executive authority. And at the center of Trump's sweeping vision for the future of the country, America First. That has meant a crackdown on illegal migration, an unprecedented overhaul of the federal bureaucracy, efforts to bring down grocery prices, and the elimination of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and of course, President Trump's signature, tariffs. On immigration, Trump declared a national emergency on the American-Mexico border that has seen border crossings plummet during his first 100 days. President Trump has also focused his efforts to bring down grocery prices, particularly the cost of eggs, which skyrocketed in the past 3 years. And to protect American jobs, President Trump launched the country's most ambitious tariffs to date. In February, he unveiled new 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, but later paused and then suspended the majority of those tariffs. On China, however, Trump has raised tariffs to a massive 145% as the retaliatory trade war with Beijing continues to escalate. President Trump has also promised that the External Revenue Service, which he ordered into existence via an executive order that he signed on Inauguration Day, will soon become a reality. In March, the president announced an executive order closing down the Department of Education, one of the very rare times in American history in which a major federal agency has been ordered to be shut down by the White House. But it is his administration's record on cracking down on illegal border crossings that President Trump is perhaps most proud of achieving in his first 100 days in office. Attempts by migrants to illegally cross the American-Mexico border have significantly decreased, according to the latest figures. President Trump has also talked about his energy policy, which he credited for lowering the price of gasoline or petrol for the average consumer. Increased gas and egg prices were major issues of concern for millions of American voters, and Trump made sure to stress how his policies are having an impact on the pocketbooks of everyday citizens. Mubi Shibander for A News, Washington, D.C.
President Donald Trump takes action to ease pressure on the auto industry, approving tariff relief and tax credits just days before new import duties take effect, part of a broader effort to calm investor concerns and support U.S. manufacturers.
In a move to ease the impact of his administration's auto tariffs, President Donald Trump signed 2 executive orders on Tuesday. The measures include a mix of tax credits and tariff relief on imported materials used in U.S. vehicle production. The policy shift, announced as Trump visited Michigan, a key hub of the American auto industry, comes just days before a new round of 25% tariffs on imported automotive components is scheduled to take effect. The measures mark the administration's latest effort to ease concerns among investors and industry leaders about Trump's unpredictable trade strategies. In addition to the tariff changes, the White House also celebrated its first trade agreement with a foreign partner, signalling a potential shift toward a more strategic and less confrontational trade approach. Under Tuesday's orders, automakers will receive credits of up to 15% of the value of U.S. assembled vehicles to offset the cost of imported parts, offering short-term relief as supply chains adjust.
Ukraine says it's ready for peace talks in any format, but only if Russia shows it's serious. Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha stated on Wednesday that Moscow must agree to a real ceasefire lasting at least 30 days. He added that Ukraine would support even a 60 or 90-day truce, but stressed that peace requires action, not just words. Earlier, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said it's time for Russia and Ukraine to present concrete proposals to end the war or risk losing Washington's support as a mediator. A State Department spokesperson, Tammy Bruce, said the next steps now lie with President Donald Trump. The warning comes as efforts to extend a proposed ceasefire falter. Moscow rejected Ukraine's request for a 30-day truce, calling it unrealistic without key issues resolved. President Zelensky, meanwhile, dismissed Russia's earlier 3-day pause as a manipulation tactic. Ukraine is getting ready to sign a long-anticipated mineral resources deal with the United States, according to a government source cited by Reuters. The agreement reportedly features a 50-50 investment structure and includes several favorable provisions for both sides. The source also indicated that discussions are in the final stages and suggested the signing could take place by late evening Kiev time. If signed, the deal would mark a significant step towards strengthening economic ties between Ukraine and the United States. 1 killed, dozens injured in recent attack on Ukraine. Russia launched drone attacks on Kharkiv, injuring at least 45 people, including 2 children, according to regional authorities. Emergency crews battled flames and cleared rubble as dramatic footage showed widespread damage. Meanwhile, in the southeastern city of Dnipro, a separate drone strike sparked fires and killed 1 person. Both cities remain frequent targets in the ongoing war, now in its 4th year. The shooting in the city of Uppsala in Sweden has claimed the lives of 3 young people and left several others injured. The attack, which took place at a hair salon in the heart of the city, has shocked the nation and raised fresh concerns over rising gun violence.
3 dead, multiple injured after shooting in Swedish city of Uppsala. The 3 victims were aged between 15 and 20. The incident took place at a hair salon in the city centre. Local police have detained a 16-year-old teenager suspected of shooting. According to public broadcaster SVT, the suspect is believed to have fled the scene on an electric scooter, prompting a large police operation in the area.
Our assessment is that this is an incident that is not connected to a risk to the public, but an isolated incident. But that does not mean that we are only investigating this crime, but we are working forward and sideways so that, in the end, many of the crimes that we are investigating also turn out to be connected.
Witnesses told Swedish television they had heard 5 shots and had seen people in the area running to take cover.
It doesn't make me feel good. Again, my fingers crossed that nobody had died, that it was not that acts of violence of any kind are good, but yeah, it's made the worse when you know that people are dead, unfortunately.
It doesn't feel great. We've lived in central Uppsala for 2 years now, so it doesn't feel great to know that you can end up in someone else's conflict in the middle of the street, because this is in the middle of central Uppsala.
The motive behind Tuesday's incident remains unclear. Earlier this year, the European Parliament said that Sweden is currently battling a wave of gang violence. In 2023, Sweden had the highest rate of deadly gun violence per capita in the European Union. Although the number of fatal shootings dropped to at least 40 in 2024, it followed a record high of 63 gun-related deaths in 2022, alarming figures in a country of just 10 million people.
Pakistan says it has credible intelligence that India may launch a military strike within the next 24 to 36 hours. The warning follows a deadly militant attack in Kashmir that left 26 people dead. As tensions escalate between the two nuclear-armed neighbors, international calls for restraint are growing louder.
As India-Pakistan tensions rise, Islamabad claims in a late-night post that it has credible intelligence, suggesting India is preparing to carry out a military strike within the next 24 to 36 hours. The planned action, Pakistan says, would use last week's attack in Pahalgam as a pretext.
Pakistan has credible intelligence that India intends carrying out military action against Pakistan in the next 24 to 36 hours on the pretext of baseless and concocted allegations of involvement in the Pahalgam incident. India's self-assumed hubristic role of judge, jury, and executioner in the region is reckless and vehemently rejected. Pakistan has been the victim of terrorism itself and truly understands the pain of this scourge. We have always condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations anywhere in the world. Being a responsible state, Pakistan open-heartedly offered a credible, transparent, and independent investigation by a neutral commission of experts to ascertain the truth.
The attack at a tourist destination in Indian-controlled Kashmir sparked outrage across India. Authorities there blame Pakistan-based militants, an accusation Islamabad denies. Pakistan has instead called for an impartial international investigation. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has promised to track down those responsible, stating that both the attackers and their supporters will face consequences. Both countries have taken retaliatory measures. India has suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, while Pakistan has closed its airspace to Indian aircraft. Military tensions along the line of control have reportedly increased. Pakistan also warned that an Indian incursion could be imminent, but stated that nuclear weapons would only be used if the country's survival was threatened. The situation has drawn concern from world powers. The United Nations has reached out to both governments and offered to mediate. The United States and China have also urged both sides to exercise caution. Experts say that if tensions continue to escalate, the region faces the risk of another major military conflict with global ramifications for security and stability.
North Korea conducted the first test firing of the weapons system on its newly unveiled Chohaeon-class warship earlier this week, according to the Korean Central News Agency. Named after an anti-Japanese revolutionary fighter, the warship underwent the test on Tuesday. It involved the launch of cruise and anti-air missiles as well as artillery fire. Leader Kim Jong-un and senior officials attended the test. Kim stressed the need to strengthen the Navy's nuclear capabilities to counter future threats. The warship is expected to be fully operational next year, marking a significant upgrade to North Korea's military. Iran's foreign minister has announced a new round of indirect nuclear talks with the United States set to take place in Italy this Saturday. Our special correspondent Turaj Shiralilo brings more from Tehran.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi announced that the fourth round of nuclear negotiations with the United States of America will be held this Saturday in Rome, Italy. After a cabinet meeting, he said that he would also meet representatives of the European Troika of United Kingdom, Germany, and France on Friday before the Rome discussions. The meetings follow Mr. Araghchi's proposal on renewed diplomatic engagement with the European Troika as signatories to the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action nuclear deal with Iran. Araghchi said that as first step to diplomacy, he was ready to visit Berlin, London, and Paris. Western media reports indicate that the European Union is frustrated at being sidelined and excluded from the ongoing talks and is considering reimposing of UN sanctions on Iran's nuclear program. So far, Araghchi and U.S. Special Envoy for Middle East, Steve Witkoff, have held 3 rounds of nuclear discussions. Iran wants U.S.-imposed sanctions on its nuclear program to be lifted, while the United States wants Iran to halt its uranium enrichment. This demand has been strongly rejected by Iran as a red line. Mr. Araghchi has been traveling and visiting Beijing and Moscow during these talks and delivered messages by Iran's president and supreme leader to the Chinese and Russian officials. This signifies the role of these two nations as permanent members of the Security Council and as members and signatories to the JCPOA nuclear deal signed in 2015 in Vienna between Iran and world powers. Turash Hiralilu, reporting for A News TV, Tehran.
A powerful sandstorm swept through Iraq's Basra and Najaf on Tuesday night, limiting visibility and causing hundreds of people to seek hospital treatment for breathing difficulties. Cars struggled through thick fog as police were deployed to manage traffic. Health officials reported nearly 400 cases of suffocation, though no serious injuries. The country faces worsening droughts, dried up farmland, and increasingly unlivable summer heat. Meanwhile, Egypt braces for a major sandstorm today. Winds up to 8 kilometers per hour are expected, prompting school closures and poor air warnings across Cairo and the Suez region. In a pivotal meeting held in Yerevan on Tuesday, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and Georgian President Mikhail Kavelashvili emphasized the urgency of finalizing a peace agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan. President Kavelashvili, during his first official visit to Armenia, underscored Georgia's role as a stabilizing force in the region and voiced optimism about the progress made toward a peace deal. With broader geopolitical shifts and increasing regional interdependence, such collaborations could be instrumental in reshaping the future of the South Caucasus. To unpack the significance of this meeting and what it could mean for the regional diplomacy, I'm joined by Dr. George Mechedishvili, an associate professor of the European University in Tbilisi. Mr. Mechedishvili, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Good evening.
So what does the joint statement by Nikol Pashinyan and Kavelashvili tell us about Georgia's evolving role in regional diplomacy? Do you see Georgia acting as a potential mediator or facilitator in the Armenia-Azerbaijan peace process?
Okay, this is a very important question. I think that Georgia is unable to play a role of a meaningful mediator because it lacks financial, economic, political wherewithal to somehow influence Armenia, Azerbaijan in getting them closer to the deal, but it is a very supportive facilitator because Georgia stands to win a lot from the ongoing peace, from the success of the peace process, because I believe that the signing of peace agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan and leaving this terrible war conflict behind will open gateways, will open many ways for Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia to first and foremost turn into a meaningful genuine region, and as a region, the benefits are pretty much countless. Therefore, Georgia is very much interested. Unfortunately, until very recently, Georgia was beset by its own political troubles. Obviously, the Russian occupation of Georgian territories is still ongoing, but now looks like Georgia has some space and has some ways to take advantage of the friendly relations with both Armenia and Azerbaijan and play a role in this process. I welcome it very much, as does the majority of Georgia's population.
So what are the implications of this meeting for regional players like Turkey, Russia and Iran, especially if Armenia and Azerbaijan move closer to a final peace agreement?
Well, in general, it will be a more peaceful region. And again, if it is a peaceful region, investment opportunities and economic and geopolitical opportunities will increase manifold. I believe personally, and will probably not surprise since I'm a Georgian and know first-hand experience, so Russia will try to torpedo this process or at least slow it down. I believe that these countries of the region should take advantage of the fact that Russia right now is too busy with Ukraine to move this process as far along as possible. So Turkey has established itself recently as a genuine geopolitical actor, independent geopolitical actor. So under the leadership of Erdogan, you might not like or not like certain of its policies, domestic and international, but we cannot deny that Turkey in the region is a responsible actor, and we should rely on that. The fact that Turkey is trying also to thaw the relations with Armenia and just manage to re-establish the diplomatic ties, or at least actually move in this direction, shows that there is an opportunity. Iran, I think, also stands to win from involvement in the region as long as it stops being such a rogue state as it is today.
So how might a closer Armenia-Georgia cooperation in sectors like infrastructure and tourism affect the broader regional integration of the South Caucasus?
Obviously, there is a potential to deepen the ties between Georgia, Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan. So Georgia enjoys bilateral relations, good bilateral relations with Armenia. With Azerbaijan, we have had strategic relationship for years, and also Azerbaijan, Georgia, Turkey provided, set a positive example of regional, I would say even inter-regional cooperation, because it's it's Black Sea region, it's Mediterranean region, it's a broader Middle East, it's Southeastern Europe. So, because of its locations of Turkey and other neighboring countries, so our region is pivotal. And I think all three countries of the region should try their best actually to deepen their ties or establish their ties or end the conflict in case of Armenia, Azerbaijan, in order to take advantage of the coming opportunities, right? Middle corridor, right? There's also possibilities of north-south, route which also depends, it hinges on the stability on the region. So I believe that it is possible, if it's not easy, to turn the region into the region of cooperation, the region of the major international trade, and make it a real pivot in Eurasia.
Mr. Mishadishvili, thanks for being part of this conversation.
Thank you for the invitation.
Construction has begun in Kyrgyzstan on key parts of the major new railway line connecting China, Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. This project has the potential to reshape logistics across the region and boost Kyrgyzstan's role on the Eurasian trade map. Our correspondent Fariza Kalimurzina has the details.
In the Suzak district of the Jalalabad region, work is now underway on dozens of bridges and tunnels. Together, they will make up nearly 40% of the entire railway line. Just within Kyrgyzstan, there will be 3 large tunnels totaling more than 37 kilometers. The full road will stretch over 532 kilometers, with about 305 kilometers running through Kyrgyz territory. The rest will be shared between China and Uzbekistan. As it's expected, more than 20,000 people will be involved in construction, and the total investment is estimated at $4.7 billion. Since Kyrgyzstan is landlocked, the new railway opens a vital path to global trade. It's seen not just as a transport project, but as a strategic bridge between East and West. China holds a 51% stake in the joint venture and sees Kyrgyzstan as a key part of Trans-Eurasian trade. Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan each hold a 24.5% share. The project has been a long time coming. Talks about it started as far back as 1997. The official launch finally happened in December last year with all three national leaders present. They emphasized that the railway's importance goes far beyond regional ties. The southern corridor linking Kashgar, Torugar, Jalalabad and Andijan will offer an alternative to roads through Kazakhstan and Russia, giving access to markets in Turkey, the Middle East and Europe. Meanwhile, experts believe the railway could cut shipping time from China to Europe by up to a week. Back in 2022, President Japarov said Kyrgyzstan could earn at least $200 million on a year once the railway is operational. If that happens, the country could go from being a landlocked transit outpost to a major hub on the global trade map. Fariza Kalimurzina, A News, in Almaty, Kazakhstan.
A new chapter in European defense cooperation is unfolding as Turkey's Baykar and Italy's Leonardo seal a strategic partnership aimed at transforming the future of unmanned aerial systems. The deal exchanged at a high-level summit in Rome signals a powerful alignment in defense technology between Ankara and Rome. At the fourth Turkey-Italy Intergovernmental Summit held in Rome, defense leaders Baykar and Leonardo officially exchanged a strategic partnership agreement. The ceremony took place at the historic Villa Pampili, attended by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. The agreement, originally signed on March 6, was formally exchanged on Tuesday by Selçuk Bayraktar, chairman of Baykar's board of directors, and Roberto Gingolani, CEO and general manager of Leonardo. The strategic partnership is set to combine Baykar's global leadership in unmanned aerial vehicle technology with Leonardo's deep expertise in mission systems, payload development, and aviation certifications across Europe. Baykar, known for its operational UAV platforms and advancements in artificial intelligence, will collaborate with Leonardo, one of Europe's premier defense technology companies. Together, they aim to capture a growing share of the European UAV market by merging cutting-edge design and advanced mission integration. This joint venture goes beyond UAVs. It also includes collaboration in electronic systems, smart payloads, integrated AI solutions, and multi-domain mission architectures. The project will be headquartered across several key Italian cities, including Ronci dei Legionari, Torino, Roma, Tiburtina, and Nerviano, establishing a strong industrial and technological footprint within the EU. In the heart of Turkey's Kahramanmaraş, a powerful symbol of resilience and solidarity has emerged from the ruins of disaster. With the cooperation of Turkey and Azerbaijan, a brand new Heydar Aliyev primary school has been built to replace one that was lost in the devastating earthquakes of February 6, 2023. A brand new school has opened its doors in Turkey's Kahramanmaraş, offering a fresh start to hundreds of children after 2023 devastating earthquakes. Built with support from Azerbaijan, the Heydar Aliyev Primary School replaces the old Sezai Karakoç Primary School, which was heavily damaged in the February 6 quakes. The new school is located in the Azerbaijan district, fittingly named, and is more than just a modern building. It is a powerful symbol of unity between Turkey and Azerbaijan and a big step forward for the recovering community. Designed to withstand future disasters, the school features 20 classrooms, 3 science labs, and 3 rooms for kindergartens. There is also a library, a gym, music and tech workshops, a health room, and large playgrounds for students to enjoy. Principal Murat Demirci praised the fast progress made during the rebuilding process. In just 16 months, the old school was torn down, the area cleared, and the new facility built to high modern standards. Currently, about 400 students are enrolled, but that number could rise to 1,500 as new housing in the area is completed and more families move back. More than just bricks and mortar, the Heydar Aliyev Primary School represents hope and resilience, proof that strong partnerships and quick action can bring real change to communities in need. That's all we have for this hour. Thank you for joining us and stay tuned for more updates.